Very Bad Wizards is a podcast with a philosopher, my dad, and a psychologist, Dave Pizarro, having an informal discussion about issues in science and ethics. Please note that the discussion contains bad words that I'm not allowed to say, and knowing my dad, some very inappropriate jokes.
Oh, what's in the box?
Not until you give me the
What's
gun.
in the fucking box?
The great boss has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Who are you? Who are you? A very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Good man. They think deep thoughts, and with no more brains than you have. Pay no attention to that man. Anybody can have a brain.
You're a very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Just a very bad wizard.
Welcome to Very Bad Wizards. I'm Tamler Summers from the University of Houston. Dave, things are pretty grim right now in the U.S., to put it mildly. Can you give us all some good reasons not to feel hopeless?
Well, if you could see my smile, all of that stress would melt away.
I feel great. Full of optimism for the future.
Yeah, Patreon members will get to see. I'll put a picture of my smile to avoid depression. Yeah, I'll pull a Steve Pinker here. You know that for thousands of years we were much worse off.
Yeah, that's good. That's really helpful. Look at the statistics from 18...
Yeah, we would have died like a painful early death if we were alive.
Yeah, but they didn't have duo fucking whatever authorization. Like, they didn't have to do that every...
The two-factor. That's true. We evolutionarily just aren't prepared for this. We're meant to go out and kill each other with axes, not check our phones for an authorization code.
Yeah, it's like maybe you would get scurvy and whatever, polio, and you would die from consumption like at 48. But yeah, you didn't have to do any of that shit.
Sorry, I feel like I failed the test.
Well, you succeeded for me. Your smile cheered me up. I feel better. So anyway, today we're going to talk about something in the main segment that's extremely non-political. Like, I don't know if you can get much more non-political than this. Two problems, puzzles, thought experiments, one of which is the Monty Hall problem, why people get that wrong, including really, really, really smart people. And then we're going to talk about something that's in a different category than that. It's Newcomb's problem, or sometimes called Newcomb's paradox. I don't know what the genre of that is, actually.
It feels like it's in maybe the same category as something like Russell's paradox, but it's not really, I guess. Like, it's not so overtly self-contradictory.
I don't see how it's a paradox. I've seen some people call it that, but I don't see how it's a paradox.
There's no contradiction.
There's no contradiction. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you think about that. And it's also possible we've talked about it before, we should say at the outset.
Yeah, I think we at least mentioned it when we did our thought experiment episode back in like the fucking 60s or whenever we started the podcast.
When the Who was...
My generation.
First, though, I mean, basically, we're a TV recap podcast at this point. Like, we sometimes do philosophy and psychology every so often. So we thought, two things. We're going to give our general thoughts on the season and White Lotus in general, and then we're going to rank the various arcs and storylines from season 3 as a way of talking about what we liked and what we didn't like.
Yeah. Now, I know that a lot of people watched this. Like, I don't know what the numbers are. It seems like everybody I know watched it, but it's a good time to remind people, if you want to skip, like we always put chapter markers, go ahead and skip if you don't want to be spoiled. But I think it was just sort of in the air. Like, people were just talking about
Everyone was watching it that I knew too, and even students were watching it. Yeah. I was surprised. I asked my students, like, does your generation watch White Lotus? And like 3/4 of them raised their hands.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. 2/3.
It's nice to get like these communal experiences once in a while.
Yeah, you just got to hold on to that. I feel like I used to not have my finger on the pulse, but I used to have more references. And
yeah, no, especially since Gen Z apparently doesn't do anything. I think that's what the word is. Like
TikTok. All right, let's talk about White Lotus season 3 and White Lotus in general, but we're going to focus mostly on season 3. What do you think?
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. It's a weird mix for me of a soap opera of sorts and prestige TV at the same time. When season 3 started, I was like, oh man, I really missed this. Especially, we were doing Severance, and Severance requires a lot of thinking, and we were doing a podcast on it. And with White Lotus, I feel like I could just enjoy these episodes, enjoy seeing, I think it's shot great. I think the performances are great, and, get a little bit of a feeling of superiority at these many morally corrupt people.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Who have a chance at salvation or grace and usually turn it down and go right back to their worlds. That sounded more positive about season 3 than I thought.
Well, yeah, I should say. Then I enjoyed season 3, and then the finale ruined a lot of it for me.
Yeah.
But I like to think that I should call the overall experience as positive, given that I enjoyed watching all of the episodes. I was just very disappointed in how some of this wrapped up.
I'm a little more down on the show. I remember season 1, I really, I separate between when Sydney Sweeney and her friend had the drugs and it was good and when they had their drugs stolen. And I lost mostly interest. And I remember that just kind of tailed off for me. Season 2 was good. I think I enjoyed it all throughout. Yeah. And then, in some of the middle dead parts of Severance, where we were starting to question our attachment to the show, White Lotus had just started, and I remember texting you and saying, this is more fun to watch right now than Severance. But that was because the reason I said that is because I kind of assumed Severance was a far superior show overall. But what I think about White Lotus, this season kind of confirmed it. It looks so good. It's beautiful to watch. Its sound, the score, is so great. The actors are so good that I think as you're watching it, you make excuses for the storytelling. You make excuses for the characterization up until the finale when you can't do it anymore because so much of it doesn't actually work. There's this promise of depth to the characters, but then ultimately there's no depth. And also, just real gaps in the narrative and the storytelling. It has a little bit of pseudo-profundity, I think, especially this season. Some of the Buddhist stuff, which we'll talk about thematically, and the search for the self, and, Western attempts to incorporate Buddhist thought. All of that is there, and it's potentially interesting, but it just never quite reaches a truly insightful place. I was especially mad at this season because I was defending it up until about the 5th or 6th episode pretty adamantly to Jen, who was never into this season. And then it turned out she was right. I don't like when she's right, when she's vindicated. Yeah. All that said, I really can't remember a show that's like this or anything like it where it's I still will watch it next time because it's just enjoyable, moment to moment usually to watch it.
That's kind of what I meant about the mix between prestige and soap opera is where it's like you said, the sound, the performances, and the cinematography are all great. And then the plot lines, you're that's where they skimped maybe. That's where they got the budget.
Well, maybe it's because you're a little logic police and you can't enjoy the vibe and emotional arcs because you're so...
Say that. Say what that is because you sent me this. Oh, God. Yeah.
There was, Mike White seems like somebody that shouldn't talk about his work ever because I think I took away a star from this season just for hearing him bitch about all the people who are raising legitimate concerns about the plot and story. And especially in the finale. And if he wants to complain that it's our fault, that it's the people's fault. He says, this isn't a police procedural. This is a rumination type show. Oh, I didn't realize it was a rumination type show. So it didn't have to make sense, the motivations for the characters. And then he says, he finishes the quote, "Is this how you watch movies and TV shows? Constant literal police?"
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I guess, he was responding in that article. So you sent me this quote and I read there. I don't know if you read the actual article.
Yeah, a lot of it is about like breaking up with the sound guy, which is very bad.
Yeah.
The person who writes the score.
That's right. Yeah. And it also was just a very defensive article. He was like, I'm going to leave the country because I can't handle like reading criticisms of this. And it's like, it's how I feel when I hear LeBron James complaining about the media. It's like, all right, you're like literally the most like powerful guy right now, and you're picking out poor Brian Windhorst to like complain about, or something like that.
LeBron is legitimately, like, I hate to say it, but like what he's doing right now is pretty like remarkable. And Mike White is not doing what LeBron is. Like, he's not at the same level in his chosen field. Anyway, let's talk about it because it is a very fun show to talk about. And there was a lot of fun things that happened in this season. It just didn't add up. It's definitely one where the sum of its parts is way better than the whole.
Yes. Okay, so should we dive into our ranking, or do you have general thoughts specifically about how this?
No, like I think the rankings, I'll be able to get the thoughts that I have. All right, so what's your number one?
So in general, the Ratliff storyline, like, it was the top for me. And within those, the Lachlan-Saxon relationship, for all the fucked up reasons, but also for good reasons. Like, Saxon is the one character that I think had some character development written well into him.
Yeah.
Where we actually got like maybe a hint that there was some change going on in him.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And so I love that. Like, the performances, Saxon was so easy to hate. Lachlan just I think played the sort of innocent kid, baby-faced so well. That dynamic was crazy and creepy. And as a measure of enjoyment, like, that's the one I talked about to people the most. And then I'll lump in the Tim and Victoria storyline with them, so their parents. Like, the whole family dynamic, I think, was just like the most enjoyable part.
Yeah, and one thing I liked about them, even though they were kind of individually reprehensible, is they all loved each other. Like, that was a family that actually loved each other. They all had close relationships. They had kind of easy interactions. Like, the fact that Lachlan and Saxon could talk about what happened, like, at all, is remarkable. Like, so I thought the Saxon arc was great. Like, that actually had an arc that was connected to the theme. Like, he literally had his self-esteem, his sense of self completely obliterated. Because how else? Like, how do you bounce back from your little brother jerked you off from the next bed over while he was having sex? Like, that's just...
While he was the one getting to fuck.
Yeah. I think that's going to completely destroy any sense of, like...
Talk about ego death.
Yes. That's ego obliteration. That is the fastest shortcut to enlightenment. But yeah, and then, and I like that it's just little baby steps. Like, he grows a little baby soul, and through reading these books, and of the whole family, I thought, like, yeah, definitely he was the most interesting. I thought Parker Posey was phenomenal as
she's awesome.
Victoria. Like, she's just, I think gives the funniest performance in the whole show.
It's so good. And if you know people like from the South like that, it's not that far off. Like,
Jason Isaacs, like, he's in like a Xanax haze for most of it. So, like, it really doesn't go anywhere for the longest time. And then I don't love how, like, he almost kills his family like 2 different times. You know, like, the whole stuff with the blender I thought was pretty
The blender thing just
doesn't work.
Oh, God, it just did not work. I did like his performance, though. I felt like, you're right, he was in this lorazepam haze, but I also felt his pain and tension throughout. Like, I could feel that he was sort of had the weight of the world on his shoulders, and like basically trying to suss out his family to see, like, will they still love me? Will they still want to be with me?
And it's funny, the finale, like the first half of the finale, like when he's talking to Lachlan and realizing that he's the only one who would be able to live without their, like, each of them, the others has said explicitly that, like, they actually depend on him being rich and successful to want to live. And then Lachlan is the only one who's like, I could do that. And so he's going to spare him. Like, that part, but then just the blender is just so annoying. Dumb. And like the fact that he doesn't wash it out, then the fact that also Lachlan doesn't wash it out.
It's just absurd.
And then he doesn't even die.
The fake death, it just felt so cheap.
Yeah.
Like, it really bugged me.
Yeah.
That's why the Saxon thing, great, subtle.
Yeah.
Like, he's reading a book at the end on the boat.
Yeah.
And then I actually have Piper ranked way down below, but like, I'll talk
I
about
have
that.
Piper. I thought that was terrible. Like, it
was terrible.
Like, it was so just abrupt and not at all credible, given how she had acted up till that point.
Yep.
The reversal to the little princess.
No, instant, like no hints, like no, this is the thing about the show is it really does suck you in. Sort of like what you were saying, thinking that it's a show about character development. And the way that they chose to wrap up the season was, let's just abandon what we did in these 7 episodes. The savvy watcher couldn't have picked up that Piper was going to turn like that.
Yeah. It's just not credible. It's not believable based on like how she was acting in the other. It's credible that she might have not wanted to do it and, maybe come home after 2 weeks but just I spend one night there and now I want to go back to my life of wealth and privilege and I want to get all the fancy jewels.
She didn't even complain about it when she was there.
It was great to see Parker Posey's facial expressions. Like, I knew it. But yeah, it would have been so much better if I bought it, which I absolutely didn't. I am actually not sure what Lachlan's arc was, like besides up and down, up and down, up and down really fast.
I'm not sure that he had an arc. Paul was telling me that he listened to one of the podcasts with Mike White, and he was saying that Lachlan plays this role that you can see as sort of symmetrical with his relationship with Saxon and with Piper in that he brings clarity to both of their lives.
Yeah.
He's the one who showed both of them what they really actually want. But him alone, I wasn't moved by the like mystical, I see the monks looking up at me from my death.
Yeah.
So it was very stupid.
Yeah. So that's why I had them number 2. I think like they had some of the highest highs, but also aside from the Saxon arc, none of the others were particularly successful. All right, so I'll do my number 1, and then you can do your number 2.
Yeah.
I have the fancy cougars, as they have been called, the 3 women.
Yeah. I thought that might be the case, yeah.
Yeah, well, because I think, first of all, I thought all the performances were stellar. All 3 of them were among the best performances in the whole show. There wasn't a tremendous, variation in their story and, getting from the pilot to the finale. Not a ton happened that wasn't kind of already there early on, but I thought they had the closest thing to a interesting and satisfying resolution with the Carrie Coon, monologue being the capstone of that.
Carrie Coon is awesome.
I
love her.
She's great. And Leslie Bibb is so funny in it. And I think Michelle Monaghan is really good too.
Yeah.
I forget what their characters' names are.
Jacqueline, Laurie, and Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they weren't ranked highly for me, because of what you said, that they don't move. There's not much movement in their characters. And while I agree that they were great performances, it also reeked of wrapping it all up with the one monologue that I guess that can happen with friends, like slightly more realistic that can be a thing that would happen when lifelong friends are together. But I kind of didn't believe that there would be that much animosity about her sleeping with,
I did. Valentin.
Yeah,
that was
Valentin,
bullshit.
that she would be so salty about it.
A lot of shit came up, it wasn't just that.
Yeah. They didn't give her any shit about being married, which I would think they would. It just didn't resonate with me as realistic as it seems to have with you.
Yeah. But I also really like, there's just a lot of subtle stuff going on with them in the finale, I think. When Jacqueline, when she wakes up and she's like, oh shit, that was kind of a bitchy thing to do. And she kind of apologizes, but not really when she wakes Laurie up and Laurie has had a hell of a night the night before. I just like them kind of moving together gradually. It had a subtlety that I found was absent in most of the other.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I actually think I guess some people don't have friends that are that lifelong. And I think that it can characterize the kind of relationship that you have with people when you have so much history and you really just know them. You're just like, this shit again. It's a different kind of intimacy.
Yeah. And yet, that is also what makes them such good friends, which I think is the point. That alone is what gives meaning to these friendships, or more meaning than they would have.
Yeah. I didn't particularly like the whole, like, and time is what gives it meaning. I didn't care for that, to be honest.
I don't love the phrasing of it, but I like the idea behind it. Like, when I think of that with my high school friends and it's like we hung out like almost 40 years ago.
And it was a moment of true honesty with Lori when she said, like, I've just been sad this whole time.
Yeah.
Like that resonated. So actually that was my number 3. Now I'm looking at my collapse categories.
So who's your 2?
My 2 is, and I say, there is a pretty sharp drop off from Saxon and everything else. Rick and Chelsea was my number 2. Now, I almost want to say Rick and Chelsea before the finale. And even then I have some complaints, but it's carried to me by one, Walton Goggins I just love that guy. Like he can do no wrong as an actor. I really like his performance. And Chelsea was, I don't know, she was a bit of an oasis in the show of negativity. And I think she played an important role in bringing Saxon around.
Definitely.
And she just never seemed malicious. She was, even though she was ditzy, she was genuine and she really cared. I hate the way that she went out, and I hate the way that Rick went out, but I enjoyed it. The Rick wanting to, find the killer of his father thing for the first 7 episodes provided enough intrigue to me that I was enjoying it.
Yeah. So I agree with you about Chelsea. I thought Amy Lou Wood was really, really good in the role. And exactly right. Like, she exuded such warm positivity and acceptance. And there was a kind of, even though I don't think she was a Buddhist, I think she's more kind of a new age version of Eastern philosophy, but seemed to embody a lot of the principles. I think that one of the biggest crimes of this season is to take Walton Goggins and make him kind of boring, which he was. He was kind of boring this season. And that's, you just watch Righteous Gemstones and you see what he can do.
What he's capable of. Yeah.
Which comes on right afterwards. And the difference is so stark. Like, I just didn't think his storyline worked. That's why this is lower for me. It's still number 4, but it's lower. And Sam Rockwell, I mean, like, one of my favorite actors to see, like, on screen, any screen. Like, he's so good, and he's very good in this. But even that monologue, like, it was so funny at the time and shocking, and so, like, all these twists and turns. But I don't think about it. It had no real substance to it. It was just fun to watch the first time, and he's so good. And it's just like, it's always great to see him in anything. But there was nothing that interesting about his character, and like, I really found Walton Goggins to be like, there was not too much going on.
He was broody and short, and you're right. Like, it was a disservice to the actor. I think he did well what he was given to work with.
Yeah. Like, this is not his fault at all. Like, I don't think. And like, there's some beautiful moments, like when he sees Chelsea at the end, but it's so ridiculous that he just went back to the hotel that's owned by the guy, that he just went into his house, lied to his wife, and pushed him over. And also, like, he supposedly had this cathartic moment of, I faced my demon, I confronted, and now I realize they don't need it. And then all the guy has to do is say his mother was a slut, and then he like all of a sudden just has to kill all of them in the middle of the hotel, which will definitely lead to him and Chelsea getting killed. That was just ridiculous.
It was absurd, and I characterized the season finale as a betrayal, a serial betrayal. Like, every character in some way is just betrayed. And whatever moment of insight or catharsis that he had, it was fake. Oh, it turns out it was fake. He's just an oaf after all.
Yeah, so what was the point of him going to Bangkok and having that moment if that's literally all it would take?
This is the fake deep that you were talking about that really bothers me, is trying to put like it's being negative for the sake of being negative. It's not deep. The world is complicated. There are shades of gray, and sometimes people have a dark soul. This was just like, let's make at the end everybody sort of turn into like the bad versions and
of themselves.
Leave it at that, and like, it's fake deep.
Yeah.
Just because you brought up Sam Rockwell, I'll just say, like, that Sam Rockwell, you're right. There's nothing that his character did that was that deep. But man, did I think he stole scenes. Like, I loved watching that guy. So, and that it's absurd. It was such an absurd monologue, but he fucking killed it as that guy.
Yeah. They were terrible con men. And it's also not clear like how he would have made
so
any
bad.
money at all. Never mind the amount of money he seems to have. But like when Sam Rockwell is trying to say, you know, what movies he's directed and he has no idea and he's just making it up on the fly. The Assassin, The Adjuster,
Yeah, it was hilarious that they, like, not even just a Wikipedia on like the ladies' movies either.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like not even a quick search on the way to the house.
So yeah, it was fun. That's a good example of this. It's fun to see it. Like every time you're watching it, it just doesn't add up to anything. All right, so higher than Rick and Chelsea, one spot higher than that for me is Mook and Guy Talk. Look, I'm not saying that it's good or it's interesting or that it changed at all, like at any point throughout. But she is so beautiful. She is unbelievably beautiful. And it really was like, as the season went on, Mike White was like daring me to stop loving her, to not love her because she's so one note and she's so superficial. But he couldn't make me. I was with her till the end. And the Guy Talk actor was good. Like
He was very good.
Yeah. And I think it was a tiny little arc that was very White Lotus. He seems like there's a window of opportunity for him to be good and to rise above all this corruption and he doesn't take it. Yeah. You know, that's fine.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to save my criticisms of that until I get to them on my list. But I get it. Like at this point, the numbers don't mean as much to me.
Yeah. I love Mook though.
Well, she is amazingly beautiful. And she's like a K-pop star, which is very weird.
Yeah. Like apparently that's really a significant thing, but I don't.
That really is.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't totally get that.
So I had Rick and Chelsea, and then I had the three lady friends, Jacqueline, Laurie, and Kate, but I already talked about them. And then I had separated Piper out because of everything we said about, like, I felt that was just one of the bigger betrayals of a character so much that I wanted to speak about her character separate from the family because it just seemed like it was supposed to almost be the heart of this show. It was supposed to be like the one, there's a one character that went to Thailand for these very good reasons and she was having like, I don't know, it seemed like a central thing, and the way that they abandoned and sort of, as I was watching it, I almost thought, surely she's just saying this stuff because she's reached an even higher level of understanding, and that understanding is that family is going to come first for her right now, and that it wasn't just, I turned into a princess, really, so fast.
Yeah, it's obviously not like implausible that somebody like her would be like she was in the finale. It just doesn't mesh with how she was.
Doesn't exactly.
Like she seemed legit. Like, and you don't get to seem legit by just dipping your toes in and taking on the trappings. The one thing I will say is she did trick her whole family into.
I was about to say that. It was about to say that. That should have been a sign.
That could have been a sign that she wasn't what she presented. Yeah. But like, I think this would have been better. For example, have it that the fact that Lachlan wants to also be there, that be something that makes her not want to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's what they seem to be going with.
That's what they seem to be going with. And it makes sense. It's like, oh, it's not really because I want to detach from my ego. It's actually just I want to be distinctive from the rest of my family. I want to be better than them, it. And this exposed me. Something like that. Not just, oh, no, I want to wear fancy clothes and I don't want to.
No indication.
There's no air conditioning.
Yeah. So Piper was technically my number 4.
Okay, so who do you have now?
So my number 5 was Belinda in general were what I had as my next 2 rankings, but I'll talk about all of the Belinda things as one because they were all pretty disappointing to me.
Yeah.
So you have on the one hand Belinda and Pornchai, who, she develops this relationship with him. He's a really sweet guy. They have this even if it's just a vacation romance, and they start talking about their future plans, and she completely fucks him over in the end. And that's connected to the Belinda and Zion and Greg storyline, where they end up just extorting Greg for $5 million in another one of the deeper betrayals of a character like ever. It's just like, What, now we're just supposed to believe Belinda
has turned into Tanya. She's turned into the Jennifer Coolidge character.
Yeah.
Like, it's so unsubtle.
So unsubtle. And one of the worst things about this entire show to me is the writing, maybe the performance, but the writing of Zion.
Yeah.
And in that moment where he turns into like the douchiest, like I heard somebody say it's like what Mike White thinks young black guys talk like.
Yeah.
Like it just like filled with like, slang that's like supposed to make him sound cool and like he's a hip MBA business guy. And it was painful to watch.
Yeah.
Like
it's ride or die if you give us the $5 million.
So painful.
No, we were saying in the AUA that he also didn't look real.
He really doesn't.
He looks like he's like an AI or something, or like it was very strange, especially early on. Like,
But I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
in the finale, I had grown accustomed to this is an actual human being, but the character was ridiculous. I thought the writing of Zion was bad, and I thought he was not great either.
Yeah, he wasn't good, right? Yeah. And you're right. He looks like a weird doll.
Yeah.
Like super manicured face. It was like hard to tell what I was looking at.
The stuff with Greg was actually good.
I like Greg, actually.
Yeah.
I really like Greg.
I like that he really does want to watch his girlfriend fuck another guy and imagine that it's his mom and dad.
Yeah. I thought Greg in general, his performance, I actually, for some reason, when I would watch him on screen, I was like, I really like this guy. I know he's supposed to be the most evil guy in this show so far. So then my last one, I was just saving the negativity for the Guy Talk Mook storyline. I was just not at all won over by her beauty. I'm more of a deeper person who cares about character. Yeah. I wasn't seduced by Mook. I liked Guy Talk's performance. I think if he's not like that super sweet guy in real life, then it was a really good acting job.
Yeah. It would be funny if he was just a total asshole.
That'd be amazing. You feel for him throughout this because Mook is clearly just, she's like Eve with the apple, trying to get him to turn. And he's presents himself as he really believes in nonviolence because of the Buddha, and this is something that's deeply meaningful to him. And you believe it. Again, they've spent all this time making us believe these things about these characters, and at the end, it's oh yeah, I'll shoot him right away with my new job
back.
with my sunglasses in the bag.
Yeah.
It's just what? Yeah.
Well, to be fair about right away with my new job, the other two bodyguards were dead.
That's true.
Logic, please.
Yeah.
I have an alibi for that one.
Did you think he was going to shoot at the end?
Yes. I kind of did because it was also ridiculous that she's like, shoot them, shoot his son, shoot my husband's son, we didn't even mention that. That was so ridiculous. God. It was like they were teasing that it was the father for so long. And then it was actually kind of interesting that it didn't turn out to be the father. And then, no, it still is the father. That's like the thing with, Lachlan's dead. No, he's not dead.
Yeah. It just seems so cheap the way that they wrote it.
Yeah, it felt like something was off. He writes all of it, so it's not like something got messed up in the writer's room or something.
Yeah, no wonder he took it personally.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that he does that.
Yeah,
he might want to look into having a writer's room. Just thought.
I was thinking the same thing. Maybe bounce some ideas off.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, so I'm done now.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
That was my last one. But I don't regret that I watched this.
No, that's right.
It was fun.
It was. And we bitched about it, and now we're done. Let's talk about decision theory.
Stop playing, you ready?
Welcome back to Very Bad Wizards. This is that time of the episode where we like to remind you how much we appreciate you. May get repetitive for you, but we always like to do it because we do appreciate all of the ways in which you keep us going. We would not be here without you. If you want to engage with us, you can email us, verybadwizards@gmail.com. Again, we read everything. We don't have time to respond to everything, but we see it. You can tweet or blue sky at us at Tamler at Peas or at Very Bad Wizards. You can engage in conversations with some fellow listeners on Reddit by going to reddit.com/r/verybadwizards. You can also follow us on Instagram at Very Bad Wizards. And if you so choose, you can give us ratings on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or even leave us a review. We very much appreciate that. And if you'd like to support us in those other tangible ways that keep the lights on for us, you can go to our website and click support, and there you'll find some links. You can buy some swag. You can donate to us via PayPal one time or recurring, or you can join our Patreon. And if you do that, we give stuff back to you. We love the community that's grown there. We love interacting with everybody, and we very much appreciate that. If you want to join and you just want to show some support, maybe you just care about getting a back catalog that's full of the ad-free episodes and getting a few beats while you're there, you can do that for only $2 a month. If you move up to the next tier, the beginning of our bonus tiers, you get access to hundreds of hours of bonus content, including our Deadwood podcast series, the Reintegrators series that we did with Paul, lots of one-off episodes with Tamler and with some guests from everything from the Sopranos episodes, David Lynch stuff, Star Trek episodes on The Leftovers. Lots of stuff there, too much to mention in this segment. You'll also get access to our monthly Ask Us Anything series. That'll pop up in your RSS feed or in your podcast player of choice. At the $10 a month and up, you'll get all of that, plus access to our 5 Brothers Karamazov series, some intro psych video lectures that I did, some of Tamler's Plato lectures, and you also will get the ability to vote on an episode topic. We do that a couple times a year. Finally, at the $20 tier, you get everything that I just mentioned, plus you get to be the ones to ask us questions for our monthly Ask Us Anything, and you also get to see us answering those awkwardly on video, unedited on video. I know, it seems like it's worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars for that, but only $20 a month. So thank you once again to everybody. Your continued support means the world to us. Your messages, comments, and interactions are food for our soul. Thank you, everybody. And now back to the episode.
All right, let's get to the main segment, and we're going to talk about a couple of logic puzzles, probability puzzles, challenges for the rationalist community, both in different ways. So the first one is the Monty Hall problem. Second one we'll talk about is Newcomb's problem or Newcomb's paradox. So the Monty Hall problem is based on the TV show Let's Make a Deal. Did you ever watch that?
I did.
Me too.
Yeah, did you?
Yes. I really liked it.
Yeah, and there was nothing like when you were sick as a kid and you would get to watch like The Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal and like those things.
I thought Let's Make a Deal was the best of all of them. It was the most interesting of all of them. I think because you had to weigh a lot of options and you were taking risks, it was very fun to think about how you would act in that, if you were presented with that choice. But here is the probability puzzle that was brought to public awareness by Marilyn Voss Savant. She had this Ask Marilyn column in Parade magazine. Like, I can kind of picture it, but I don't know what kind of magazine it was. Do you? Like,
oh, it was distributed in newspapers every Sunday.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Right. We would get it in the Boston Globe, actually. Okay. Yeah. So here was the puzzle. Someone actually sent this in to her. Suppose you're on a game show and you're given the choice of 3 doors. Behind one door is a car, behind the other is goats. You pick a door, say number 1, and the host, who knows what's behind the doors, opens another door, say number 3, which has a goat. He then says to you, do you want to switch from number 1 to number 2? Is it to your advantage to switch the choice? So Marilyn Voss Savant's response was, yes, the contestant should switch to the other door because that raises your probability of winning from 1/3, 1 out of 3 to 2 out of 3. So obviously you make that switch. And it causes this big controversy and brouhaha. Quoting Wikipedia now, many readers of Savant's column refused to believe switching is beneficial and rejected her explanation. After the problem appeared in Parade, 10,000 readers, including nearly 1,000 with PhDs, wrote to the magazine, most of them calling Savant wrong. Even when given explanations, simulations, and formal mathematical proofs, many people did not accept that switching is the best strategy. Paul Erdos, one of the most prolific mathematicians in history, remained unconvinced until he was shown a computer simulation demonstrating Savant's predicted result. This is mind-boggling to me, right?
It's crazy, yeah.
Because it's a very simple problem and you don't need formal mathematical proofs. You certainly don't need simulations. What's interesting about this, I thought, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it is, even though it is actually simple and I think you can give a simple explanation of why you switch doors, it's very hard to see and it's very hard to intuit beforehand.
Yeah, like the Erdos thing, is mind-boggling. But it is simple, but like it confused the shit out of me, like when I first heard it. Like I could not understand why it wasn't just 50-50, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is what we were saying. Like when you know a little bit about probability, you know that like, when you have two options, it's 50-50. That just intrudes on anything. And it took me a while. I would hear the explanation for it and I would get it and then I would forget. I would just completely forget.
Yeah.
And I would have to like relearn, wait, why is it 2/3?
And I would need it to be played with the 100 doors, which is what makes it much easier to get the intuition. But here's the basic idea, right? Like when you first pick a door, you have a 1 out of 3 chance of getting the car instead of the goat. So then the host will open another door, right? And he knows, this is a key part of the problem. He knows where the goat is and where the car is. He's always on that second move going to open a door where there's a goat.
That's right.
So given that information, the thing that's so hard to wrap your head around is, like, the car is behind one of those two doors 66% of the time, because the one you picked is only going to be right 1 out of 3 times.
1 out of 3 times.
So given that he's always going to open a door with the goat, that means that you have a 66% chance if you switch. When it's put like that, it seems like, wait, why is this even tricking people that much? But you're right. Like it took me a while to figure out why this was right too. And it really was, I think, going to 100 doors and imagining that. That's the thing that made, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
By the way, like I feel like we need to point out that in Let's Make a Deal, they really did have goats behind doors. Like this isn't just a weird philosopher who made up like there's a violinist connected to you.
Yeah.
It's like they actually
had an actual goat that you could choose if you switched doors sometimes.
Aside from the probability getting a little confusing, because when you think 2 doors, what are my chances? 50-50. There is this like tendency that people have already not to switch. So people, for some reason, they think that the counterfactual of losing if you switched is worse than losing if you stayed with your initial choice. Like people like kick themselves more at the thought that they switched.
I feel that a lot of the time. Like, it's like I would rather stay in a car lane that turns out to be the slowest one, like then switch to the car lane, and then it turns out the one I just came from is actually faster.
I totally feel that too. This is like something that happens in multiple choice exams to students all the time, where it feels worse if you erased it and circled the next one and you got it wrong. I wanted to give the 99 version if it's not obvious, but like the 99 door version, it really illustrates how the knowledge of Monty Hall is playing a role here. Suppose there's doors 1 through 100 and you pick just door number 1, let's say, and Monty Hall opens 98 doors to show you goats. And there's one door that he didn't open up. Like the chances are going to be like obviously really high that door that he didn't open contains the car, right? And that just sort of sharpens it.
Yeah. Then you realize, oh, well, of course, given that he's always going to open a door with the goat until it's just your door and another door that, either has the car or doesn't, or you had the original one. Yeah, it's going to be 99 out of 100 times. It's going to be behind the one that you should switch to.
Yeah. Probabilities are tough. Like, I like what you were saying about the reason Let's Make a Deal was fun, because it does put you in those positions where it was constantly like it still exists as a game show now. Yeah, so it'll just be like, okay, you picked something. Before we show you, here's $100.
Yeah,
Do you want to just
that's
take the
the
$100?
thing. That's what he would do. Also, Monty Hall, he would just take out like a bill, a billfold, and he would just peel off like $1,800 bills.
How about
$200?
$200?
$1,800. Don't open that door. And then sometimes they're like, no, I'm going to open the door, and then it would be bah, bah.
I don't think they actually got the goat.
They don't think they got to keep the goat.
There's another thing about this whole story about all of those people writing in so certain. Like, this is why this problem is fascinating. It's the certainty. It's not just that it's a hard problem, because that would be trivial. Like, whatever, that wouldn't cut. It's the certainty that people had.
The belligerence.
I don't know if you read at all about Marilyn Vos Savant. Okay, so Marilyn Vos Savant was this woman who, she had the highest recorded IQ in history. And so her IQ was estimated at like above 200. I don't remember what it was.
224. Like, I didn't even know IQs went into the 200s. Yeah. Yeah.
That's an interesting part, which I'll get to, because it turns out to matter. So she was in the Guinness Book of World Records. And I remember, like, I read that she was in the Guinness Book of World Records for like 3 years or something. And I was like, oh, then I guess somebody came along and scored higher than her. But no, what happened is that she, as smart as she is, realized that like IQ was just like an unreliable metric. And she just thought it was like not meaningful to say that she had the highest, given how unreliable the measures actually were. And whatever measures originally gave that estimate were like extra shitty. So she just asked to be removed.
Good for her.
Yeah. Isn't that honorable? I know.
Is there like an asterisk next to the new guy that's there?
The new it was like the NBA bubble.
the bubble
championship. So here you have somebody who got a column precisely because she's the world's smartest person, right? Whatever you think of IQ, like, obviously it's capturing something and something that would indicate that you're good at exactly this kind of thing. Like, and so you have like a bunch of people writing in with this confidence, and so you can't help but read the sexism in it.
Yeah, it's tragic that the term mansplaining didn't exist at this time. Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. Like, it's like this casual sexism. Oh yeah. She might be the smartest person in the world, but it's a woman.
It's a cookie. Yeah. It must have felt so satisfying, because like there are I was watching a video where they had quotes from the letters that were written to her. And there was one guy who was like, I think he was a mathematician or a statistician, who was super confident. He said something like, whatever, I'll eat my hat, whatever version of like publicly announcing that if he was wrong, like he would own up to it. And he did, but he said it was one of the most embarrassing things in his entire career.
Well, it's because how can you be like a famous like mathematician, like this mathematical genius, and you can't tell that 2/3 is higher than 1/3? Like, that's what's so crazy about it, is the belligerence, how adamant everyone was, and it just comes down to that. It's like someone called it a statistical illusion, comparing it to visual illusions. I think that's right. That's what it seems like. But it's not clear, unlike with visual illusions, why it's happening.
Right. That's right. So maybe the status quo bias plays a role, but let me give a shot at why.
I have a theory too. Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're trained, if you're trained a little bit in probability, you learn things really quickly about, like, say, the gambler's fallacy, so I'm flipping a coin and, I flipped 5 heads in a row. And you say, what are the chances that this 6th one is going to be heads? And the naive person might be like, oh, that would be really unlikely to flip 6 heads in a row. And the statistician or whatever, the prof says, but you're not realizing that each of these events is independent. So like the minute you have the coin on the 6th toss, it's 50-50, just as it was on the first toss, on the second toss. By the way, I remember trying to teach Bella this, like, of course, right? Because I'm like an annoying dad. And I was like, coins are 50-50. Like, if you flip them enough times, you'll realize that it's 50-50. And I flipped 10 heads in a row. And I was like, oh, fuck, there goes that demonstration. So you're taught that it's independent. Like these events are independent. So now you have this situation where two decisions are made. The first one was you pick one of the doors. And now the second one is between two doors because you're not going to pick the open goat door, right? Say he opened door B and there was a goat. You have between door A and door C. And so you think to yourself, look, whether it's in door A or in door C is 50-50. So it doesn't matter if I switch or if I stay. So I might as well stay. And I think that's what's fucking with people. And I think the key really is to understand that the problem has changed the minute he opened that door because he didn't choose randomly.
No, right. I guess he could have chosen randomly if you had the car. Then he could have chosen one of either goat. Like he could have done either of those.
Yeah. But if he was truly choosing randomly, he might open the car.
Yeah, which he would never do. Right. So I had that same thought. Oh, people are brought up on the gambler's fallacy and they know that. And so it seems like switching would be, like it's just 50-50. So you might as well stick. Like here, there are two options and it's 50-50. So you should you put in our Slack a YouTube where they explain it. And it's like breathtaking to me how simple it is, when it's explained to you. It's really basically like you had a 33% chance here. That means that it's 66% is going to be one of those two other doors. That's the actual choice. It's between yours and two other doors. It boils down to that. Your door versus two other doors. Obviously, you're going to go to the two other doors. Like that's a strict analog of the problem.
No, it's true. But yet, so this is I'll post it in show notes. This is a channel that I love called Numberphile, where he just interviews a bunch of mathematicians and they go through like super cool problems. And they did one on the Monty Hall problem. They had a statistician do all of the explanations, tell this story, and still, just like with Parade Magazine, all the comments on that original video were people arguing. Like some people doing exactly what the writers to the Parade Magazine way back in 80 something were doing, which is like just doubling down. And so he posted the follow-up explainer video where in like 3 minutes, if you don't get it by then I know.
It's a really interesting, psychological fact.
It's funny, like when I try to explain it to people, I get like a little anxiety kicking in that I'm going to fuck it up. And like my explanation ends up being bad. No.
I've definitely been in that position too. Yeah, interesting little psychological quirk. There's not other things that are much like it. The other kind of statistical biases that we're prone to are like they're settled once it's explained to you.
Yeah, that's right. There's not a lot of, it's weird. There's not a lot of arguing. Do you know the birthday statistics?
Oh, yeah, I do. Like how many people do you have to have in a room where it's 50-50 that there are going to be two people with the same birthday?
Right. Yeah. And it turns out to be like,
it's like
pretty damn
people.
Low. Yeah. And so that's hard to understand. I think I think this is why there's a pretty simple reason. If I'm in a room with 23 people or 22 other people, it does not make sense that the chances are 50-50 that somebody has my birthday, right? Like I'm comparing myself to 22 other people and that feels low. But what you have to remember is that it's any two people having the same birthday. And so you're not just going me and person two, me and person three, me and person four. It's person two and person three, person two and person four, and then person three and person four. Like you're doing like tons and tons of comparisons. And so with that many comparisons, then it goes up. But once that's explained, it's like,
it's kind of a much harder math in the first place too. So
if there's anything it teaches me is that probability is like way less intuitive than it might seem.
And I think there's a lot of legitimate debate on certain ways of understanding probability. I mean, I'm not even talking about Bayesian versus frequentist, but like I see in sports so often like a use of probability, like the win probability, worst. For example. Of a game. Those are just made up numbers. They're not like, they're like, oh my God. And they, with 4 minutes left in the game, they had a 92% win probability. It's like, what does it mean?
What does it mean? Yeah. What does it even mean? Yeah. It's just fascinating though, that bookies, you live and die by this sort of thing. But I guess they give themselves enough of
No,
a
I
buffer.
find that whole thing setting lines, like bookmakers setting lines and what to set it at. And they'll also like to take a stand sometimes, and they'll actually put themselves more at risk, take more money for one side than another because they have information. Like all that to me, I think is super interesting, but probably unrelated to the next thought experiment that we're going to talk about, which is Newcomb's problem or paradox. So that, like I said in the opening, I don't see how it's a paradox. But what is that, David? Tell our audience.
Okay, so there was a guy named William Newcomb who originally came up with this problem, but it was popularized by the philosopher Robert Nozick. It goes like this. Suppose there's a genie who is, as Nozick says it, is nearly 100% accurate in predicting your choices. And the genie says, I'm going to give you a choice, simple choice. I'm going to put two boxes right in front of you. One is clear, so you can see the contents. And in that box, there's $1,000. The other box is opaque. You have no idea what's in it. And so the genie says, in that box, the opaque one, I have either put $1 million or nothing. Now, I'm so good at predicting that I know what choice you're going to make, but these are the choices that you have. You can either take only the opaque box, in which case I will have put $1 million in there. Or you can choose to take both boxes, box A and B, in which case I will have put nothing. Basically, he says, if I've predicted that you're going to choose two boxes, I will have put nothing in box A, the opaque box. So the question is, do you take box, let's call the opaque box, box B, and the clear box is box A. And so the choice that you have is either take box A, the clear box, and box B, where you don't know what's in there, or you just take box B, right? And so again, the genie has said, if I predicted that you're just going to take box B, I will put $1 million in there. So do you take one box or two boxes?
Yeah.
Those are the choices that you have. Now, the beautiful thing about this problem, as Nozick points out, is that the answer is completely obvious to everybody. It's just obvious in completely different directions at about 50-50. And that's my experience. So Tamler, I don't think I've talked to you about this. If your answer, maybe we did way back in the day, but are you a one boxer or a two boxer?
So I am a one boxer. I would take just the opaque box, but I don't think it's obvious. I just it's a more of an all things considered judgment for me for reasons I'll explain.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay, so I've always been a two boxer. I've always argued with Nikki about this because she's a one boxer also, and with Sean Nichols about it because he's a one boxer. And we had just decided to talk about this a couple of days ago, and I went to a meeting with the chair of my department who he's like a quant guy, so he teaches stats. And I just was asking him and the other person we were in the meeting. I was like, this is completely an aside. But what are you in the Newcomb's paradox? And he looks at me and he goes, are you kidding me? And I was a little afraid. I was like, did I say something wrong? And he gets up and he pulls out two boxes, one with a wad of money in it and one that's opaque.
He pulls it out of where?
He pulls it out of from his shelf. Yeah. And I was like, what? And he's like, dude, for the psychology commencement address, I'm going to use Newcomb's paradox as an example. And I created these two boxes. And he's like, I just decided it yesterday or 2 days ago to do this. So there's something in the air about Newcomb's paradox. But he's a fervent one boxer. And he was shocked that I would be a two boxer.
Take a hint here. Everyone you know and respect is a one boxer.
Even some people I don't respect. Okay, so here's my reasoning. It's either in there or it's not. So as the problem is stated, the genie or whatever you call it, the predictor, has made their choice. If they thought I was going to pick one box, it's going to be $1 million in there. If they thought I was going to pick two boxes, it's going to be nothing in there. So that decision has been made. That ship has sailed. He can't switch it after he tells me the problem. So why not take both boxes? There's either $1 million in there or not.
I don't know. To me, this doesn't seem like a problem that has a right answer. It's not like the Monty Hall problem. No. It really kind of does depend on psychological facts about you. And that's why I kind of am a one boxer is I feel like even just the differences in sums, like I can stomach losing $1,000, but it would be tough to stomach and live with yourself if you lost $1 million, maybe because even though everything you said is absolutely right, you're like, but I don't know. Maybe if I had had a better intention going in and maybe if I had shown more sincerity before, which is really, and just like, I don't know, like, I just don't want to have to think about that for $1 million. But whatever, for $1,000, I could handle it. We've lost $1,000 because we didn't invoice somebody, like.
That's true. So for you, the numbers might matter.
Well, I think that's important because, like, if it was much closer than that, right? If it was 10,000 or 25,000, I'd probably be a two boxer.
Oh, interesting.
And then also how reliable the predictor is, although that doesn't matter as much as you'd think.
It doesn't. That's true. So if you do the expected utility, if you like just calculate what the probabilities are in like that standard way, it seems to be clear that even if you're at 90% predictive accuracy or 80% or whatever, that it seems rational to take only the one box.
For expected utility?
Yeah.
I don't get that. How is it possible that expected utility wouldn't be all 100% take both boxes?
Well, because you really do believe that the predictor is accurate at 80% chance or 90% chance.
Oh, I see.
Then you're multiplying that chance.
Well, then it would have to be because the difference, like all you're sacrificing is $1,000. That's the other thing is if you're a two boxer or by going to one box, aren't you just sacrificing $1,000? You still get the $1 million. So who gives a shit? $1 million and $1 million and one is the same.
I mean, that doesn't really affect my intuition because my intuition is they're both. It's either there or not. Like my decision is, it's like such a simple one. It's there's either $1 million in there or there's not. So it just seems like a no-brainer to take the two.
Don't you also kind of feel like it seems obvious, but like a lot of people thought the Monty Hall problem seemed obvious. Like maybe I'm not like metaphysically informed enough to figure out like how this might work, and so I'll just be on the safe side.
I don't play safe. It's like wearing a bicycle helmet. Take the two boxes. Live a little. Take the two.
You're like James in Twin Peaks. Riding your motorcycle, taking the two boxes.
Yeah. With my leather jacket and my cigarette.
Kevin Bacon and Footloose.
Here's a version that I've never read, so I think I came up with it. And if I did, then please praise me. Suppose, Tamler, that the genie said, okay, I'm presenting this choice to Jen. And you know that Jen's a one boxer. Like you're like totally convinced. You've talked about it, Jen keels over and dies. And in her will said, I want Tamler to make any decisions for me. So now you're faced with these two boxes that were for Jen. And the predictor, right, like would have predicted that there was, that Jen was going to be a one boxer. So there's $1 million in there. Is it obvious to you that in that case, you might as well take the two boxes?
No. Number one, I would want to honor her choice.
No, she said explicitly,
let
Tamler choose whatever he wants. Yeah. But the predictor made it for Jen.
And the predictor is not even pretending that he's taking my psychology into account. I see.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then I would take both boxes, I guess. Like, especially if the numbers are closer together, but probably in any case. I really do think $1 million and $1 million and 1,000 are the same.
Right. But it's like critical to my position that I believe I'm also getting the $1 million. Like, I don't feel like I'm risking anything.
That's my point. Like if you just take the box, which is where he says $1 million is, right? Then like you're getting $1 million if, the guy's right? And all you're losing by not being a two boxer is $1,000 on top of your $1 million. That's just like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but you're just focusing on like the wrong part of what's driving my intuition here. What's driving my intuition is exactly in the Jen case where it's like, you might as well. Like it makes zero difference to take. It's like icing on the cake to get the extra $1,000. Because it's either in the box or it's
and
not.
I get that. I understand it. Like I said, that's why when you put the numbers closer together, like if you make it 50,000 and 100,000, then I'm taking both boxes. But my point is those kinds of things matter. And the reason why at the margins, when it's 1,000,000 and 1,000, the reason why it matters at the margins is like, I don't know if I fully understand metaphysics. What if like the arrivals, like aliens are right and time is this more like flat circle thing. And so there's a way in which what I'm deciding actually does determine it in some like metaphysical way that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's a possibility in a case like this if I was ever presented with it. And so I'm going to just like be safe because $1 million and $1 million and 1,000 are equivalent to me.
Right. So, yeah, it doesn't become really a problem if it's like equivalent numbers. But you're right. It's reverse causation is what's driving, like my disbelief at reverse causality like that is what's driving my intuition, where I'm like, my decision can't then cause him to have either put him in.
Which I share that intuition, but like, I don't think it's infallible, you know?
Right. It is possible that he predicted that you would be a 2-boxer and put 0 in there, and you end up just picking the $1,000 and you get
No,
0.
I thought of that. That was the one thing that made me reconsider. Also, is wait, what if I'm actually going to be a 1-boxer, but he thinks I'm going to be a 2-boxer, and then I get jack shit. But then in that case, like all I lost was $1,000.
Right, $1,000 in whatever 1956
and
money
soon
or whatever.
money is gonna like $1,000 will be the difference between life and death
meaningless
for us, so
yeah maybe. So okay, tell me if you think that this matters. Like my sense in talking to people, and I can't put my finger on this, but my sense is that people who are true determinists are more likely to be 1-boxers. Now I know you're not, but I don't know what that means for this problem. But like there is something in their determinism
that makes you 1-box. I
don't know what work it's doing that makes them a 1-boxer.
Because they kind of, even though they would, if they're having a philosophical debate, they would say we're not fatalists, we're determinists. They would still think that there was something about that implied some kind of foreknowledge.
Yeah, like your choice was going to be your choice, and maybe that means that the predictor can really know. And maybe it's like some weird latent, free will belief in me that thinks I can flip it last minute. Like I can walk around saying,
like
1-boxer, I'm a 1-boxer.
Existentialist.
In fact,
like you are choosing to be a different person at that moment.
Yeah, right. Which, as Nikki pointed out, I'm fucking up the plan if I'm on a podcast talking about being a 2-boxer, because then the genie's going to know. Like, so I really should have defended the 1-box solution this whole time, so I could just build my case.
I'm not saying I'm doing that, but I'm not I'm not saying it. David Lewis actually wrote an interesting paper that I came across saying that this is just a prisoner's dilemma. It's the same thing where you like whatever they are going to decide is already decided, and so you should always defect. In this case, defect is like taking the 2 boxes. And for the same reason, it's like these things are completely independent. I have a free choice at this moment that doesn't affect what this other person has done, which is kind of interesting. But I do think that like people trying to come up with a rational choice. Yeah, like
solution.
What is the rational choice in this scenario? That's I think that's wrong. There's all these other things like how you're going to feel if you take 2 boxes and all you get is $1,000. Because as much as you intuit that it doesn't matter at that moment. Let me ask you this. What if you take the 2 boxes and it's just $1,000? Are you not going to think at that point, oh man, maybe like, what if I had taken the 1 box? I could have $1 million.
I'm going to die on the 2-boxer hill. It's like when they asked Bertrand Russell, like if he dies and there actually is a God and he's like gets one question, he's like, there was not enough evidence. That's how I'm going to go out and be like, well,
there was only $1,000 in there. So at least I got the 1,000.
By the way, do you remember in Seven, the movie Seven, at the very end where he's
What's in the
What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What a performance that was. There was one thing I was going to say about the status paradox, because I agree with you. It's weird that it's called a paradox, but maybe it feels like a paradox because when you put two people together who have very clear intuitions in opposite directions, that's the paradox. It's not like within you that you feel contradicted, that you feel like there's any kind of contradiction.
And I guess that's why I don't think it's a paradox, is because I don't think it's obvious. Like, I could, in certain moods, be a two-boxer. Right. Like I said, the numbers make a difference for me. It's not a paradox if you can just toggle the numbers a bit and change my mind about it. Like, I really do think it has all the kind of metaphysical elements to it, no matter what. But then there are also these other things, just your level of risk aversion, your level of how much do you hate yourself if you've made a choice that cost you a huge amount of money, and how confident are you in your metaphysical intuitions about reverse causality? Like, all this stuff I think actually matters in terms of like your all things considered judgment, which is what I think this is. But I think people look at it as more like something you should run through your model and it'll just issue out the rational choice.
Yeah, or just my intuition. So it's interesting because all of the stuff that you said matters not a bit to me. Like, the numbers don't matter. It's so clear to me that there's either money in there or not at the time of the choice, that you could use apples and pears. Like, to me, it's just obvious that you pick two boxes because it's either there or not. So I don't feel like I'm taking a risk by choosing two boxes.
I guess, as commonly happens, I just have so much more epistemic humility when it comes to...
I was waiting for the humility card.
I think, and I have your intuition about that. But, like in any kind of case like this where you don't even understand how this genie or this prediction machine actually works, and, if it really does, and, I think in the best versions of this problem, you get evidence that, in the last 500 cases, this thing has been right. And it's like 99% over time. It's like, I don't know if I want to just fuck with this. Just take the one box and I get it. It seems like you should just take both of them because the money's either in there or it isn't.
Yeah, it's like my decision can't fuck with it.
It's either in there or it isn't.
Right?
Is like an intuition I have. It's just not like, it doesn't outweigh some of these other considerations for me.
Right. I think there's a version of what I was saying with my example about Jen and you that Sean told me, but it's somebody else's, Sean Nichols. He said, imagine that you have a friend who is allowed to peek, and he peeks and he tells you, take both boxes. There, I guess it's clear you take both boxes. Right?
I guess you have to trust your friend.
Yes, if you trust your friend. Yeah. But there is something about both my example and Sean's example. Adding another person to the equation just fucks with the whole thing. And this
and an eyewitness at that moment also. Yeah,
exactly. Nikki called it the interpersonal aspect of it as fucking the whole thought experiment up. I don't know. I guess if I really believed that there was a time machine and the genie had gotten into the time machine, seen what I was going to choose, and then gone back in time and set up the boxes, I guess I would be forced to be one boxer, although I don't think, how could I not be?
I think you just, no matter what, just want two boxes over one box, whatever the parameters of the choice is. It could be like,
even if there's a donkey,
you're going to be shot in the head if you take both boxes.
It's still, I'll die on the rationality of my choice. It is weird to me, though, that I'm in disagreement with so many people. As you say, so many people I respect. This is what I was going to bring up. I found this on the Wikipedia, but there's this Phil Papers survey that goes out to philosophers every few years.
Like, what are your intuitions? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, are you a determinist? Are you whatever? I actually took that one last year, or 2020, not last year. And they report that there's a small difference in the direction here that slightly more philosophers report being a two boxer than a one boxer, 39% to 31.2%. So I'm not crazy.
No, you're just on the spectrum.
Maybe, yeah. As my two boxers unite.
I came across a paper that said being a two boxer is strongly associated with psychopathy. So,
you really?
Yeah, it's a cool problem though, because it does get like, it triggers people, and it is interesting. Like the one boxer, like having to defend your choice is so much less straightforward than it is in the case of the two boxer. The money's in there or it's not. Like I'm taking both boxes regardless, just makes so much sense. Like, and then the one boxer has to be like, yeah, but you know, like whatever. And so like, it's funny that most people nevertheless are one boxers. Like, what does Sean say is his reasoning?
No, most philosophers are two boxers.
No, but I mean, like most of the people you know, not most philosophers.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. That don't use that to support your opinion for anything. But why is Sean and everyone you love a one boxer?
I don't know, other than like they're pulled by, and I guess this is a good way to put it, as you were saying, if you've seen 99 people go up there and everybody who chose two boxes got only $1,000 and everybody who chose one box got $1 million, they think it's just a no-brainer.
Maybe it's like the Humean thing to do, is to take one box.
Wait, why?
Well, because it's just constant conjunction, you know.
Right.
I don't think it fully works, but there is something empiricist about taking just the one box. I don't know. I remember when Lai was very young, I presented her this problem, and her solution was to say, give me $20,000.
She's like the kid's trolley problem that we see. Video that everybody sends us.
Everyone sends us. Like we've probably gotten 1,000 times, and it's Eliza was like $20,000, and I was like, yeah, but it's not that. It's either one. And she's like, no, $20,000.
You know, that's interesting. I'm going to ask Bella. I don't think I've ever asked her this, and I bet you she's going to be a one boxer.
You love her, and she's smart.
Exactly. God, I feel like a lone voice in the wilderness, spreading the truth of two boxes. Two boxes are better than one.
I think you'll get some support among our listeners, maybe.
maybe. But this might be one of those rare times where everybody comes out and you're on your side.
Yeah, although, like I said, I don't know if my argument is that good. It's like just, I don't know. It is funny that I think,
it's vibes.
Yeah, it's vibes. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. Join us next time on Very Bad Wizards.
The great and boss has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Who are you? Who are you? A very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Good man. They think deep thoughts, and with no more brains than you have. Pay no attention to that man. Anybody can have a brain.
You're a very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Just a very bad wizard.